What's up guys? Welcome back to my channel. I'm doing a little sit down video today, which I haven't done in a little bit, so welcome back. Welcome to the office setup. Today I wanted to bring back my personal finance type videos. I've done several of these in the past, but I haven't made one in a while. And I've been wanting to bring them back. So I have a whole playlist that I'll link up here for other videos that are pretty similar to this. I have a whole video for how to move out on your own and tons of recommendations for just the process of saving up to move out. I have a video on how to budget, which we'll talk about a little bit of that in this video as well. I have videos on how to save large amounts of money and how to plan and organize your life. So I'll link all of those as cards up here. If you guys haven't seen my channel before, welcome. My name's Lindsay. I'm 26 and I love talking about personal finance, especially sharing the things that I found that have worked for me and mistakes that I've made. That's another video I've made. My biggest mistakes, like going $15,000 into debt and how I paid that off. If you want to see that video, I've done it all, you guys, and I've shared my experiences. And today I wanted to do basically my top tips for how to save money, budget, and also have spending money in your 20s. If you guys enjoy content like this from me, definitely let me know by giving this video a thumbs up. It helps me out so much to know if you guys want to see more videos like this, and leave a comment down below on one of your top tips to share with other people in the comments and other people watching. Maybe a trick or something that you've found for yourself. And let's go ahead and get into it. Okay, tip number one. This is one that's really personally helped me so much. So obviously we all know this is a basic thing right here, okay? Separate your savings account. First of all, have a savings account. If you don't, we all know, have a checking account, have a savings account. That's basic stuff, okay? Something that really never worked for me was having my checking and savings just on my app, like my banking app on my phone, both together. Because seriously guys, like, I'm an impulse purchaser. I know a lot of us can relate to that. And it's just way too easy for me to quickly transfer over money from my savings to my checking all the time. If I just like wanted to buy something, I'm shopping online, I'm like, oh, just gonna transfer over $50 or $100, like it's no big deal. But if you can make your savings account actually a little bit hard to access. I'm not talking like you can't dip into it at all for emergencies, right? But I make mine a little bit harder to access in the sense that I have a completely separate online personal savings, a high yield personal savings account, which is actually free to open. It sounds all fancy, but it's completely free to open, at least the one I did. I find that for me, you guys, this is just such an easy way for me to literally forget that that money's there. I save it for my taxes. I save it for an emergency fund. I save it for whenever I get a brand deal payment in and I'm like, okay, I don't need this money right now. Put it in there and it's out of sight, out of mind, and I know that that money is not something that I'm gonna be tempted to dip into if I'm online shopping. Also, just to sweeten the deal, you can earn so much more in interest from using a high yield savings account as opposed to just your banking's savings account, okay? So I'll put some examples on the screen. The one that I'm about to switch to is called Ally Bank because I've heard amazing things from Graham Stevens as well as other financial people. The one I have right now, which I do really like, is the American Express Personal Savings. So these are some ones that you can go and research, you guys. Like I said, I believe it is free to open both of these accounts, so why not set yourself up for success? I'm telling you guys, this is a sneaky little tip. If you're an impulse person like me, that's always like, it's so easy to transfer money, transfer money, transfer money. This will actually be that barrier that you can still transfer the money out. For me, it takes about a day or 2 days if it's the weekend or something, but it's not instant, so it makes me rethink bigger purchases. All right, tip number two, let's talk about an easy way to budget. So I do have an entire video, like I mentioned, on how to create a budget. If you want to go watch that, I'll have a card to it up here. It is a couple years old, but I went into detail on how I created my personal budget. I'm gonna be honest, you guys, I don't budget every little thing like that anymore like I used to. I used to be a lot more strict when I was trying to pay off my credit card debt and I was super serious about my budget. Now, I definitely live a little bit more. I'm not budgeting every little thing. If you are trying really hard to save for something or really just watch where your money's going, I definitely recommend at least doing an easier, simple budget. You guys might have heard about this budgeting rule before, but if you haven't, it is called the 50-30-20 rule. This is kind of like a guideline to follow, right? So it gives you 50% of your income goes towards your needs, your rent, your groceries, your bills, like the things that you have to absolutely pay. 30% of your income is gonna go to your wants and the things that are fun for you to spend your money on, you know, because we're all, at the end of the day, we're all gonna have these, like going out to eat, going out to drinks, buying clothing, going to concerts and festivals, like whatever it is. So 30% goes to your wants, and then 20%, around 20% goes to your savings or, you know, your debt payoff. The things that aren't so fun, but it's like you have to put some money towards that. So that's the 50-30-20 rule. It's just something to think about and live by, and it's definitely, I think, a good way to, it's not a super limiting budget. It allows you to still spend on things you want, but also like the 20% thinking about your savings and thinking for the future. As for actually how to like budget for your bills and things like that, you guys, I wanted to share a little tip that you can definitely try out if you are really like struggling for money and you're like, my bills are just fucking expensive. How do I make them a little bit less? Something you can do, I can't guarantee that this will like work for every little thing, but a lot of times, you guys, if you actually call up your bill providers, your internet provider, like you can ask them, hey, like I'm really in a tough spot. I'm trying to save money. Like what is the best thing you can offer me? Like I'm thinking about switching to blah, blah, blah company. And a lot of times, you guys, they will give you a lower rate. They will be like, okay, we're gonna help you out. We want you to stay with us. We're gonna offer you this much. Like, cause a lot of times when you first sign up for your bills, like you just are getting like, they're like, you should get this internet plan for $150 a month. I think that'll be right for you. Sometimes you can get lower rates even on your rent. I found out, you guys, I've never actually tried this before, but I've heard that you can actually even try negotiating your rent. And hey, what's the worst thing that's gonna happen? They're gonna be like, no, sorry, but it's always worth it. Maybe you can get $50 off your rent. Or if it's a month where you're like really struggling, try emailing your bill providers and seeing like, can I just have a little bit of extension? There's no harm in trying. So that's something that I would say if you're like, fuck, my bills are just really expensive, research and see if you can get those costs lower. Okay, number 3, this is something you might not want to hear. I know sometimes it's hard for me to actually do this, but it is to live within your means, or even below your means. I have an expensive taste, you guys. A lot of you guys probably know, especially in homes, apartments, you know what I mean? Like renting where I live, I'm like, bitch, I'm just gonna spend whatever I want because I want it to look perfect. Things I mean specifically by living within your means is get roommates if you don't have roommates. If you do and you're still struggling for money, maybe you can add another roommate. Maybe you can move to a cheaper apartment or home. Limiting going out and dining out to special occasions or once a week. You know what I mean? Like I will sometimes be in the pattern of going to Miss Starbucks drive-through every other day. And I'm like, Lindsay, oof, she really is adding up. And that's not it, you know, like going out to drinks, going out to food, getting a little something here and there, like it adds up. So trying to actually be strict with yourself and being like, okay, I will go out once a month, or I will go out to eat once every other week. Some other tips I have for you guys is work out at home versus having a gym membership. Think about these buckets where your money is actually going and how you could cut back. Even things you might not consider, like if you do live somewhere where public transportation or walking is pretty accessible, think about not owning a car. I didn't own a car for 3 years and I saved so much money not having to pay for car insurance, gas, and the prices of owning a car. If you live in a city or something, think about that. Even little things, you guys, like your different streaming accounts. Can you share streaming accounts with all of your friends and family so that you never have to pay for one? Figure out the areas that you can actually cut back in little ways. Tip number 4 kind of goes along with the last one, but it is actually physically see and know where your money is going. So if you guys haven't heard of the app Mint, I believe it is free and I've been using it for years. It actually tracks everything you're spending, you guys, and it puts it into these little like graphs and bubbles of the categories that you're spending. So you can actually see like, holy fucking shit. Last month I spent $189 out on food. What the fuck? Like you can look at this stuff and be like, okay, let's cut back here and here, and then I could have $200 extra a month to put into my savings. So definitely utilize these free apps. I believe there's another one called Capital. I haven't particularly used it, but I've heard good things about it. I think it is similar to that it tracks your expenses. If you guys have any other ones that you really like, share it in the comments down below. Tip number 5, at the end of the day, if you need to increase your income, you guys, one of the things you might just have to accept that you have to do besides saving money is getting another job or doing something part-time. Now, I'm not saying you guys, in addition to your full-time job, you need to go out there and get another job, okay? Maybe you do have to do that to get by for a particular period of time, but I'm talking about things that can fit into your schedule even with a full-time job. Some things that we might not think about when we just are struggling for money that we could do. There is so many ways you can make money now, you guys. Some examples I'm gonna give you right now. Sell anything you don't have or use or want in your home, in your closet, wherever, on Facebook Marketplace, Poshmark, eBay, Craigslist, Depop, OfferUp, Mercari. There's so many ways, you guys, that you can sell things that you don't need. It is incredible. Go through and do a sweep of your entire house, your entire bedroom, your entire closet, anything that you're not wearing or using or needing anymore, get rid of it. I guarantee you somebody will probably want it. And if they don't, maybe in a month or two, it'll end up selling. You never know. You could make really good money from doing stuff like that. And this is stuff that you already have access to in your home. And most of these apps are completely free to use. Of course, it's gonna take a little bit of time, but you can do that stuff on your weekends, on your nights, like just setting aside like 2 hours a day or 1 hour a day to a little side hustle or something like that if you need to bring in some extra cash. How about pet sitting or babysitting on the weekends or the nights? You can put yourself into like care.com or one of those pet sitting or house sitting websites and people can hire you for that stuff. If you're a crafty person or an artsy person, list stuff on Etsy. Make a shop on Instagram, you know what I mean? Like the possibilities are endless now, and I think people forget sometimes you don't have to necessarily go out and apply and get a whole nother job to bring in more money. Tip number 6, if you really don't want to think even about putting money into savings and you want it to be brainless, one of the easiest things you can do is utilize services that invest your spare change. So I have always talked about this app. I stand this app. I've never been sponsored by them. It's so easy to use. I believe it's free to download and you get $5 in your account invested just by joining. I'll have a link to it in the description box down below. It's called Acorns. What I love about this app, you guys, is they invest your spare change into this account. Say you go out and you spend $4.67. It's gonna round that up to $5. If you want it to, you can turn off the roundups. If you're like, I just can't do this right now, you can turn them off and turn them on super easily. But this is something that's helped me so much because it just adds up, you know, a 20 cents here, 50 cents there. It adds that up to the next dollar and puts it into like a savings investing account, but it's just kind of this like online account that invests your spare change. And then you kind of can grow it from there. So that's a really easy way to brainlessly like be putting a little bit of money every single day or whatever you're spending into savings, and it's small and it's gonna add up over time. And that can be something that can really help because it's something you don't have to think about going and doing every day or every week. If you guys have any other services or apps that invest your spare change like that, definitely let me know in the comments down below because I'd love to check them out. Tip number 7, I've talked about this one in almost all of my financial videos because I believe it is so important and it's not exactly a fun one. It's not something that we want to do. Guys, set up your retirement account yesterday. Like if you don't already have one set up, I hate to say this, but you already have lost so much potential for money for when you retire. This is something that somebody hits in every single YouTube video I've ever watched for personal finance. They hit, don't forget about setting up your retirement account as early as you possibly can because I've talked about this before. If you've heard me talk about it before, I'll keep it brief. Compound interest. Here's an example on screen of how much you can save if you started when you were 20 versus when you were 30 saving for retirement. It's actually insane. You can basically get free money, you guys, because of this thing called compound interest. So I know a lot of jobs have like 401ks and stuff like that. I personally don't have that from my job, but if you do, a lot of jobs will literally match, I believe, like 50% of what you put into your 401k. So make sure you're taking advantage of that if you have a job that offers that. And if not, I set up my own retirement account. Once again, I think it was free to set up or very inexpensive. I almost am positive it was free. And I use a service called Vanguard. I've used that for years. I've had my retirement account since I was 17 or 18, you guys, and I've already saved so much money in it. And I know it's really boring and not fun to think about retirement, but think about literally free money for when you're older and you're just fucking chilling in Florida, like on your patio pool, just vibing with your retirement money that you saved in your 20s. Like, let's go. Even if you can't contribute like every month, like whenever you can contribute to that, it's going to be growing interest. A little something is much better than goose egg. I will link Vanguard in the description box down below if you guys want to check it out to set up your own retirement account. Utilize free things to do. So I know as somebody that's social and goes out and catches up with friends, it's like all we do is go out to dinner, go out to drinks, or spend money in some way, right? It seems like that's just all we can do. So I wanted to give you guys some examples of all the things you can do with friends or just by yourself or with your partner that are literally free, and you don't have to be in this mindset of spending money every single time that you go out to meet up with a friend. Stay in with friends and have a game night or a karaoke night or a movie night or a YouTube watching night. Maybe everybody brings one thing. Maybe one friend brings a bottle of wine, or 2 or 3. Maybe one friend brings a snack. Maybe one friend brings a pizza. Like, yeah, that's still spending a little bit of money, but it's not like going out to drinks and dinner and these crazy things. Like, it's like maybe every person spends $5, or maybe you just go over and alternate the host's house. Go to the park, you guys. That is a free, iconic task. Take something that's in your fridge, a beer, a wine, a water, a LaCroix, and go lay down a blanket and go vibe out at the park. Bring a speaker, like go chill with your friends. Take a bike ride, oh my God. Oh, utilize people's pools that you can get into their pool for free. If you have a friend with an apartment complex with a pool, or like lives in a neighborhood with a pool, like utilize that shit. Have a pool day, go on a hike. Or go over and have like a balcony or patio night at one of your friends' places that has a cute outdoor place. Like, there's so many free things that you can do. And if all else fails and you still get sucked into going out to dinner or drinks, hey, here's something you can do. You can eat before you go, and then you can go and just hang out with everybody and not order anything, or split an appetizer with someone. Order an appetizer for yourself, split things, that'll save so much money. Or you just don't have to say yes to these things to be social. Like, you can suggest other things. To be social, you don't have to spend money, and I think that's kind of like a misconception of like being young and in our 20s. Okay, last tip number 9, think about every little purchase. This is something that I could be so much better at, you guys, because it's so easy to just go out, spend this, spend this, spend this, spend this. How is a $5 trip to Wendy's or a $10 trip to Chick-fil-A going to affect your savings goals for the future? You know what I mean? Like, this is something, like I said, I could be so much better at. Going out to dinner, how is an $8 or $9 glass of wine going to affect your savings goals, or getting 2 or 3 glasses of wine? It's like, these are things that if you really are trying to save for like a vacation or just really put money into your savings. Of course, some things are fun to spend money on. Like, I love spending money on like my plants and like physical things for my home. Like, that's some of the stuff that's super worth it to me. But when I think about spending like $15 on a cocktail because I'm like, fuck it, I deserve it. Like, yeah, it was fun in the moment, but at the end of the day, doing that all the time sucks your money. And what did you get out of that? You got one drink, you got, you know, one meal from a restaurant, and then it was gone. Temporary purchases, you know what I mean? So just really thinking about that stuff, every little purchase, and how it's gonna affect the future. Look at that glass of wine on the menu and be like, okay, but I could have $10 more to put towards my vacation in Hawaii fund. All right, you guys, that is the end of this video. I'm gonna have tons of stuff linked in the description box. I'm gonna have the different apps that I talked about in Vanguard, my retirement fund. I'll have those websites for setting up a high yield personal savings account, highly recommend doing that, you guys. I know this video might not be super fun, right? But I think it is fun to take charge of your finances and realize that you are in control. I literally love talking about personal finance. If you guys made it until the end of this video and you enjoyed it, I would love if you gave it a thumbs up. Thank you guys so much for watching and subscribing. If you enjoyed this and you're new to my channel, you can click subscribe, and I will see you guys very soon in another video. Bye.